Good morning. Welcome to the El
morning.
Paso History Radio Show. Now live on KTSM AM 690 and in El Paso, streaming live on our Facebook page, El Paso History TV. Also streaming live on the Facebook page, Remember in El Paso When. And this is the place where we say Texas history begins in El Paso. Welcome back, Melissa.
Welcome. Glad to be back. It's nice and cold, so we're all set for Christmas, aren't you?
Oh, I think so. Much is going to get set. Anyway, you can find us on where else? The iHeart.
Well,
the old technology.
The old technology. Now we're jumping into the 22nd century, I think. What we've got to do is go over to ktsmradio.com, where you can stream us live anywhere in the world. And you can also do this by going to the iHeart Radio link, and you can find us on KTSM there also.
And a lot of things going on here. You can get a $25 Pepe's Mexican food gift certificate for only $20. That's the Christmas deal they've got this year. And send that as a Christmas gift. Yeah.
And also for the holiday season, Mission Del Rey will be open on Saturdays with weekly $20 radio show coupons online for online orders to go. And that's history is the code on that. And that's missiondelrey.com. Or give them a call at 915-440-2140.
And also, you have a history moment coming up.
Yeah, kind of an interesting one that kind of popped up. It was World War I, or just after World War I. El Paso had an Army blimp corps stationed here.
Oh, interesting stuff there.
Yeah.
We've been all, as a way station, El Paso's had a lot going on here.
Oh, yeah.
With the air world, and that'll be some of it. All right, today we have the history times two. As we feature the two Texas state historic sites in El Paso County. In hour one, we explain Waco tanks, a natural wonder full of rock art, history, and remarkable places to climb and picnic. And in hour two, our topic is the Magoffin home, which is an architectural gem built by a multicultural family that helped build El Paso. So now, in hour one, we are going to welcome Dr. David Carmichael, Anthropology dude. Hey, David, how are you?
Fine, and you guys?
We're doing great.
We're surviving so far to get to this point. I've asked Melissa to explain some of your credentials, so you ready for this? Here it comes.
Oh, he's a very important man. Dr. Carmichael has 40-plus years of professional experience in archaeology, cultural resources management, applied cultural anthropology, including projects in 12 states throughout the western U.S., with emphasis on the Southwest. Let's see. Much of his archaeological research has focused on prehistoric and Apache land use and patterns in the El Paso area, including an intensive survey of the New Mexico portions of the Fort Bliss maneuver areas and Dona Ana Range. That's a lot of stuff there.
A lot going on there, David. Welcome here. And you now are still with UTEP, correct?
Correct.
And so you've been doing a lot of teaching from home, I guess, these days.
Most of it, well, all of it since mid-November.
Oh my!
I had one class that was meeting once a week on campus before that, but yeah.
Closed down again, huh?
Well, that's the way that goes.
Trying to stay safe and keep all the students safe, of course. And
well, the thing is, we have
important thing.
Today our history business is all about Waco tanks in this hour. I appreciate you joining us because you're the guy I look to nowadays for history of places that are cultural like that. That's what we want to talk about today. The cultural history of Waco tanks. And let's just start with the definition. Waco is a hollow place in Spanish, right?
Right.
And that's about the water that retains there in those hollow places. That's a big deal?
Well, that was one of the most important aspects of the natural phenomena at Waco tanks. It was, for prior to 1910, with the deep well technology being introduced in the area, those Wacos were the only water source between the Pecos River and El Paso.
And so that made it a stopping point. Stagecoaches, Native Americans, you name it, they stopped there.
Sure.
Well, let's talk about the culture there, because I think that's an interesting thing. It's not just a set of rocks that are igneous and et cetera. We'll ask you about that in a minute. But basically the culture there goes back thousands and thousands of years. Humans have always liked that place.
Yeah, so far the earliest evidence that we have for Waco tanks being used by prehistoric populations goes back about 10,500 years to what people refer to as Folsom culture or Folsom times. We have at least 4 or 5 projectile points, spear points that are fluted Folsom points that have been discovered in at least. And they've been concentrated in the area right in the middle, in between all the 3 mountains. And it suggests to some of us that the reason that they're there, the reason that the way that the park was being used at that time was driving bison into the interior part as a trap.
Well, you know,
they were probably dispatched there at the right where Mescalero Canyon cuts through between North Mountain and East Mountain.
Well, we have a clip I'd like to play about that. It's actually from the documentary we did called El Paso's Waco Tanks. Andrew, if you're ready in there, we've got the clip there about Waco Tanks, the bison. You got that one ready? Hit that one, David Carmichael.
The earliest inhabitants of Waco Tanks were probably the Folsom people, who lived about 10,000 years ago. Folsom spear points have been found there. It's thought they used the area's natural features to catch game.
Seems likely that what was happening is that Folsom people were driving bison into that interior part and trapping them for hunting, what we would call a surround or a trap. That's a pretty common approach for Folsom people throughout the Southwest. We see that in a number of places. And the interior part of Waco Tanks makes an ideal location for that.
And I tell you, David, we had a lot of fun putting that documentary together. Some things have changed on that. That was you, of course, talking to us about on that video, El Paso's Waco Tanks. I want to bring that up because we did that as a commercial event, but now it's free. I put that on YouTube. Anybody can go see that video. And I watched it this morning just to get a background for today's discussion. And we covered quite a bit of stuff in there, and it's now available on youtube.com/El Paso History TV. If anybody wants to go learn the details about Waco Tanks, which haven't really changed that much since the documentary, but that's now online if people want to go see that. And you're right about the idea. Tell us about how there were bison around here. I didn't really understand that till I interviewed you about this documentary.
Yeah, well, bison, in the end of the Ice Age anyway, the bison extended further south than El Paso a little bit, let's say down into Chihuahua, and a little bit further west, maybe halfway through Arizona or something like that. But we're pretty much at the southwestern corner of the distribution of bison during the Pleistocene. And they would have moved mostly north and south along the, on the plains, east of the Rocky Mountains was the primary habitat.
How far back are you talking? That's the Archaic period or since then?
Well, no, Folsom times, 10,000 years ago.
Yeah,
and we know that those animals were around even before that, probably even before humans were in the New World, back maybe 25, 30,000 years ago.
So we're talking about Waco Tanks in East El Paso County, and it is one of the Texas State Historic Sites that we have, but we have two of them. Magoffin, second hour, we'll talk about that other one. But the fact that it's a state historic site, what significance does that really bring to us here?
Well, for one thing, a lot of people in El Paso complain that we don't get our fair share of attention. We don't get our fair share of, fair treatment by folks in Austin, or they don't recognize that we're as close to San Diego as we are to Austin. So we're kind of, isolated out there. But El Paso has more than its fair share of really outstanding archaeology, and Waco Tanks is a good example of that. Now, it doesn't have a particularly extensive a group of sites from the Folsom times. I know of at least one out there, but it's not known for that primarily. It's known, of course, for the paintings. Well, those are much later in time.
And the paintings they were not so much. There's some archaic paintings out there, aren't there?
Yeah, they're what we think are archaic. It's kind of hard to tell. They haven't been dated that far back. The dates don't go that far back. The dates on the paint don't go to the archaic times. But the style of the painting seems to fit with archaic style that's known throughout the West.
Well, we have one more clip, actually, frankly, on about Waco Tanks I'd like to play now, and it is basically about what we call rock art. And you came and told me this week that Native Americans think that's not necessarily the best way to characterize it, but we do call it that, looking at it from a distance. It looks like rock art on the wall to me. But let's talk about this with a clip that we have also from the documentary El Paso's Waco Tanks.
Waco Tanks is El Paso's largest and oldest art gallery. Okay? And this stuff is local. We don't have any evidence even suggesting that people came up from Mexico and painted this. No, this is local. This stuff is ours.
Originally, did you?
Well, the thing is about this rock art. You said the Native Americans also have it more of a more spiritual nature. They would prefer not to call it rock art.
Yeah, that's a sort of current discussion that's going on right now, and I think most Native people would prefer to talk in terms of these being rock images, or possibly the spiritual essence of the rock being revealed to the viewers, but it has a different purpose, a different function than what we think of as artwork. It's not entertainment. It's not. It's mostly dealing with presenting history or presenting the cosmos, the spiritual realm. And those kinds of things are considered those kinds of topics, and the places where they're invoked are considered to be sacred places. Well,
there's a whole bunch of faces, and some people have called them masks, and other people think that they're portraits. What are your thoughts on that? Because this is like the largest collection of these, if you call them masks, the largest collection of masks, rock art or spiritual art anywhere in the Southwest. Am I correct on that?
I think so, yeah. There's over 200 of these face images. I think that I'm not sure that masks are really what I would call them. I used to work for the Hopi tribe, and they actually still maintain, not claim, but they recognize that they have an affiliation with Waco Tanks. And they've recognized some of those images as being indicating Kachinas, that they still paint and they still dance. And when I've talked to my Hopi contacts, what they tell me about a place like Waco Tanks is that those are the images that the spirits of the rock are revealing to us.
Oh, that
and
makes
they
sense.
allow us to interact with them in that way. So I would lean towards the spiritual, revelational kind of interpretation of those images.
Well, David, weren't the Hopis the original people that came up with the Kachinas?
Well, the Hopi Ancestors. So let's put it that way.
Yeah, the Hopi Ancestors. Yeah.
Yeah, so it would be the what would be
Anasazi?
In the old literature would be called Anasazi. More recently, people would say Hisatsunam, the ancient ones, or ancestral Pueblo groups.
And we're talking
where the Kachinas, the Kachina phenomenon is a southwestern phenomenon, not a Mesoamerican one. So it gelled in this region, and I think it's widely accepted that some of the images at Waco Tanks are probably part of that phenomenon. But to say that the Hopis per se were the source of that would be overly simplifying it. The Hopis, as they are constituted today, represent bits and pieces of people who migrated from all different parts of the Southwest and became Hopi when they arrived at their current location.
Yeah.
Well, in that clip we played with Dr. Mark Thompson, and he was director of the Museum of Archaeology at the time, he suggested not only was it the biggest art gallery in El Paso, but it also was done by people from here. It doesn't those figures don't connect directly to a lot of other places very easily. It's like it's original
Correct.
El Paso rock art, if you're
Right.
pardon expression.
Right.
Okay. Well, I find that an interesting thing because, as you mentioned, rock art is all over the place, but this stuff seems to have been El Paso people.
Yeah, there's actually different ages of rock art out there, and I would say when we talk about it being local, we're referring mostly to the Mogollon stuff. It makes up the majority of the rock art at Waco Tanks is attributed to the Mogollon peoples or the Mogollon period, a formative period, let's say, from, say, the time of Christ up until the 1300s or so. Earlier than that, when we talk about archaic cultures had much more similarity over a broader range of the Southwest. So that's, the stylistic patterns that we see that are attributed to the archaic peoples would be shared over a wide area, just not even here, but beyond the Southwest. That's not the case. By the time you get to the formative or the ceramic producing period, then you see regionalization occur. And so the iconic elements of what we call Hornada rock art would be things like the goggle-eyed figures. Those have a fairly circumscribed distribution that ranges basically maybe as far north as Carrizozo and as far south as maybe Candelaria in Chihuahua, but it's a fairly constrained distribution, and it's not shared with areas like northern New Mexico. It's not shared with areas like central Mexico. It is our own regional phenomenon.
I understand there's maybe as many as 3,000 figures out there.
Could be. I don't know.
You haven't counted?
I've never counted them.
Dr. David Carmichael has never counted all of them. Well, David, we got to take a break here and come back and do some more of this. But in the meantime, if people want to get a hold of us, they can call us or message us on Facebook.
Well, yeah, they can message us on Facebook. But I also wanted to know that we're actually showing pictures on the live stream on the topic we're talking about right now. So you can see pictures of Waco tanks and the drawings and such. So tune into that, and you can be active in the show even more so. But you can also go to which is the El Paso History Radio Show page, or you can also go and call us at 915-544-5876, 915-544-KTSM.
Many retired El Paso area homeowners,
which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
This radio show is now streaming on the Facebook page Remember in El Paso When, run by Barbara Given-Baney. These streamed El Paso History Radio shows will be archived in that page's section of videos. We still archive the audio of these radio shows on ephistory.com, and you can go there online and find our radio shows for the last several years. Go to ephistory.com and access the El Paso History Radio Show archives for every Saturday radio show back to early 2016.
many retired El Paso area homeowners don't know where to begin when it comes to downsizing and selling their home. Patrick Tuttle and his Legacy Home team follow a proven process to help retired homeowners sell faster and for more money. Call Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850 today and get your home sold faster and for more money. That's Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850. Call him today.
El Paso History TV is now available for free on YouTube.com. Take a look at recent ABC7 News reports by Bernie Sargent on El Paso History TV about Waco tanks, the Franklin Mountains, Concordia Cemetery, and more. The YouTube channel also has more than 100 videos about El Paso history with lectures, documentaries, and various history clips. Go to youtube.com/El Paso History TV and find out how Texas history begins in El Paso.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
Monterey Asset Management is proud to sponsor the El Paso History Show. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the stock market, maybe you should invest in real estate. Monterey Asset manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell properties. To learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate, call Certified Property Manager Ray Baca at 915-592-4549. Call Monterey Asset Management to discuss your personal financial needs at 592-4549. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live with video right here on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com. Our live streaming on Facebook started on November 21st, 2020, with our tribute to Leon Metz, which you can now listen to here on our Facebook page, El Paso History Radio Show. Scroll down our page to find that archive in our videos section. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest.
You can send us an email if you wish while we're on the air here, and you can go to ephistory690@gmail.com. We are the El Paso History Radio Show on Facebook, and you can go there for our weekly promo announcements of the topics each week. And also, we have a TV channel now. We'll be putting this streaming on eventually on YouTube. Right now, we're streaming on Facebook, several pages. And the YouTube channel is youtube.com/El Paso History TV. And that's where you can find that free documentary I mentioned earlier, the documentary that we did on El Paso Waco tanks, I guess, 10, 12 years ago. It's still
a good video.
It's relevant. It's still good. I looked at it this morning, and it's a very interesting, informative piece about a major history place in Texas, and it happens to be in El Paso County.
Well, aren't some of the sites off limits now to some of the people going up there that you have on film also? And
we also show them the rangers talking about people used to hike right and climb right here. It's now off limits, and they've taken quite a few.
I went there years ago.
Out of service.
Before they did that, and I was crawling under rocks looking at them. It was amazing.
Well, back in the day, in the 70s, I believe, before they really got clamped down on the cultural saving program, they had 150,000 people a year going through that park.
Oh, I know.
And people were trampling on everything. And so that has changed quite a bit. But that's free. Go to youtube.com/El Paso History TV. Also, we have our ABC 7 series from El Paso History TV on there with Burning. We put that on 20 segments, and the documentaries are there as well. And recent subscribers, we had Newton Oynham and Gerardo Quintero, and I'm not sure who they are, but they've joined us on that Facebook page. What do you got?
Well, I just want to, again, it's Christmas time, and we want to talk about missiondelrey.com with their souvenirs. They've got some great things. El Paso souvenirs. They've got just blankets, decorations, all kinds of great things. You can buy Christmas decorations, send them off to your friends back east. And Mission Del Rey will be open 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and Saturdays through December 31st. Closed on New Year's Day and I'm sure Christmas. But Mission Del Rey has the weekly $20 radio show giveaway for the first 5 listeners each week who use the coupon code during checkout, which is HISTORY. They can redeem that and get an extra additional $20 in their shopping, and it must be a $20 minimum purchase. Cannot be combined with any other offers, of course, so definitely use that code HISTORY. And if you have questions, you want to go to the store, give them a call at 915-440-2140. They're just off of Lee Trevino and Pelicano.
We got a lot of people looking at us on the Facebook page. We've got a history. Rick Melendres is looking at us, Julio Lamello, Woody Webb, Bernard Moy, and a bunch of people. They're just saying, hey, good to see you out here. And we are actually having a good time talking about Texas's 2 state historic sites. Andrew, do you have anybody coming up on any other pages? Not yet. All right. Dr. David, we got you here. This is a short segment, David. We're going to take another break pretty quick here. But the idea of Waco tanks, how did you first get involved in Waco tanks? Did you know it as a kid? Or you not originally grew up here, but when you showed up, what did you think about it when you first figured out what it was? Andrew, where's David?
Introduced to it in a fairly roundabout way because my interest was not in rock art at the beginning, but was in holy sites, sacred sites. and it was mentioned to me as one of the sacred sites that I should go see. And so the content of the art is what attracts most people when they first encounter those kinds of sites. But I was actually doing work for the military, and one of the things you have to take into account is places that are important to native populations, and that's how I heard about it.
Well, it is a very important site. How would you rate this site in terms of world history? I think this ranks up there as something incredibly important.
Well, I think it certainly could be a World Heritage Site. I know that there's been some effort to try to get it listed. I don't believe it has been yet, but it could be and should be. It's certainly as significant as many of the sites in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
That have that status.
We're talking about Waco Tanks in East El Paso County. Fabulous area. It's about 1 mile by 2 miles, and that's the extent of it. When we come back, David, we can talk maybe about the geology a bit, because as you look at this from the air, which I've shot at different times at airplanes and drones and God knows what else I was in, but we shot this from the air, and it's just kind of like a bunch of bumps out in the middle of the flat desert, and you wonder, how did they get there? We'll talk about that in a minute. Call us up if you need to, 544-5876
or 915-544-KTSM.
You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
This radio show is now streaming on the Facebook page Remember in El Paso When, run by Barbara Given-Baney. These streamed El Paso History Radio shows will be archived in that page's section of videos. We still archive the audio of these radio shows on ephistory.com, and you can go there online and find our radio shows for the last several years. Go to ephistory.com and access the El Paso History Radio Show archives for every Saturday radio show back to early 2016.
Many retired El Paso area homeowners don't know where to begin when it comes to downsizing and selling their home. Patrick Tuttle and his Legacy Home team follow a proven process to help retired homeowners sell faster and for more money. Call Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850 today and get your home sold faster and for more money. That's Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850. Call him today.
El Paso History TV is now available for free on YouTube.com. Take a look at recent ABC 7 news reports by Bernie Sargent on El Paso History TV about Waco Tanks, the Franklin Mountains, Concordia Cemetery, and more. The YouTube channel also has more than 100 videos about El Paso history with lectures, documentaries, and various history clips. Go to youtube.com/El Paso History TV and find out how Texas history begins in El Paso.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
Monterey Asset Management is proud to sponsor the El Paso History Show. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the stock market, maybe you should invest in real estate. Monterey Asset manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell properties. To learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate, call Certified Property Manager Ray Baca at 915-592-4549. Call Monterey Asset Management to discuss your personal financial needs at 592-4549. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live with video right here on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com. Our live streaming on Facebook started on November 21st, 2020, with our tribute to Leon Metz, which you can now listen to here on our Facebook page, El Paso History Radio Show. Scroll down our page to find that archive in our videos section. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call.
And we're on 690 AM plus streaming on Facebook if you want to take a look at us. We're here, whatever good that might do you. But also, one reason we do this, it gets the good radio audio out there on Facebook. Some people have a hard time with the application on ktsmradio.com. So this is a clean way to get this across the planet really easily. I want to let you know about Patrick Tuttle Legacy. Get a hold of him if you need real estate issues in El Paso. He does rentals as well. He'll either rent your home or rent it to you. 588-1850, Patrick Tuttle Legacy Real Estate. He knows what he's doing. And so give him a holler, 588-1850. And you have a Concordia thing.
Yeah, tomorrow, Sunday the 6th, approximately 300 holiday wreaths for veterans buried at Concordia Cemetery will be placed at the grave sites. This project is a partnership between the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association, Chapter 23-2, and Concordia Heritage Association. And this is in the spirit of the Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association motto of Vets Helping Vets. And if you have a chance to stop by the cemetery tomorrow or during the week or any time during the holidays, pay your respects to those that gave their life for our country and our freedom. And there's veterans from wars from, I think the oldest one is like 1812, who actually fought in 1812, but moved here later on. But it's fascinating how many people we've got out there.
There's a lot of folks out there. And it's an interesting world here we have in El Paso, a lot of history, ancient stuff, and plus you just referred to wars and people that are buried around here.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing about, we're talking to Hueco Tanks with Dr. David Carmichael. David, I want to ask you something about the geology there. As I mentioned, from the air, I presume you've flown it a few times, have you?
I've been over there, yeah. Every time you go east to Texas, somewhere in Texas, you fly over it.
Well, you make sure you get a window seat on that side I did it. Actually, some of the video that I put in the documentary actually shot out of a commercial airliner as I was flying to Washington a couple of times. Managed to hit it just right, so I put that in the document. But the point is, you see all these little bumps on a very flat desert, and around the edges of that flat desert are huge mountains. And these are little bumps in the middle. What is that geology?
Well, it's real interesting. We have we're part of the Rio Grande Rift Valley, so there's fault block mountain ranges up and down the area that go north-south, and that's what you're seeing. The large mountains, the Waco Mountains, are fault block, where limestone has been faulted and pushed up. In between there, you have basins that are where the blocks have fallen down, and then they fill in with sediment. And Waco Tanks is sitting. It's been kind of sticking up in one of those basins in the southern Waco Bolson, and the geology of it is different than the surrounding mountains. It's what's called a syenite porphyry, which is a kind of granite that it's kind of soft and crumbly and has harder pieces in it, but it was magma, molten magma about 34 million years ago, and it formed in a dome and was pushed up underneath that limestone. Never made it all the way to the surface, and so it cooled in this sort of dome or uplift shape. And then with erosion and weathering, tore away the limestone and shaped the syenite into the three different humps that you see now.
I think it's an interesting construction, so to speak, by nature. And it's fascinating that what happens is the reason that people have stopped there forever, there's no natural springs there, as I understand it. But
right.
It collects whatever rainwater shows up, kind of stays down, seeped into the rocks. And if you're good at this, you can know where to find it. If you're really thirsty, you will find it. And that's how travelers and Native Americans for centuries have gone through there as an oasis. Did I sum that up about right?
Yeah, and of course there were animals and plants that grew there or lived there that weren't widely available throughout the rest of the desert, too, because of the water supply.
Well, we should talk about some animals and plants that are there only when it rains. And in the Huecos, that are dry Huecos until the rain comes, the rain shows up, and within about a day and a half, all of a sudden you have little species of shrimps living in there. Can you talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, that's actually that's not my area of research, but Liz Walsh in the UTEP biology department has worked out there a lot, and there's really interesting stuff. They're rotifers. The shrimp are actually rotifers, and they feed on algae. And so but when there's no water in those Huecos, they're dormant, and they could be dormant for a long time. Apparently, they actually recovered an egg from one of the Huecos out there, and in order to get it to hatch, they had to produce conditions of the late Ice Age for it to hatch.
Wow. Well, and I remember we put her
in a long time.
We put Dr. Walsh on the documentary as well, and she talked about how there's some shrimps, like 4 different species of shrimp there, and they're native, a couple of them only to Hueco tanks, something like that. So Hueco tanks is unusual in so many ways, and the art that's on the walls there. I want to go back and mention about that for a minute. You have pictographs and petroglyphs, and the distinction.
Right.
I have to always think about that. Petro means
which is which. Yeah.
Petro means rock, so they chip.
Right.
They
so
chip,
those would be etched into the rock.
They chipped it in, and picto
and
means.
There's relatively few of those actually at Hueco tanks. That's the most common kind of rock art around the Southwest, but there's only a few sites in Hueco tanks. Most are the pictographs with the painted ones.
Now, where'd they get the paint?
Well, the paints are primarily mineral paint, and there's various, not necessarily locally, but around the region, there's various different mountain sources. So you've got kaolin clay would be the white paint. Something like an iron ore like manganese would be red paint maybe. Limonite might be yellow paint, and if you heat it up, it turns red. So you mix the paints that way. Probably the rarest color is going to be the blues and the greens, and those come from copper minerals.
Oh.
So they're finding these all over and then bringing them to the park to actually produce the paints.
Interesting stuff out there. You have animal figures. You got the masks or faces, as we discussed, and then there's some stuff that I'm not sure what it is. But if you're thinking spiritually, you'll draw on a rock, I suppose. But the idea of Hueco tanks is amazing. We've got a picture up now. We've been running it on the same time we're streaming of the starry-eyed man. That was one of the most unusual rock art, spiritual paintings at Hueco tank. What do you think of that one?
Well, that's one of the ones that my Hopi friends have told me is actually a ghost kachina that they still paint.
Oh,
and they still dance. When I worked there, I didn't see that one. I saw lots of kachina dances every week during this kachina period. I mean, the kachina time of the year, but I never saw that one. So I just rely on what they're telling me.
Also, we can take one more break and come back, and let's wrap up with what kind of tribes, current tribes, date back and claim Hueco tanks as part of their heritage. There's a lot of Indian tribes that think that that's their place. Interesting stuff there. Dr. David Carmichael on the air here with us. And put a comment on Facebook. We've got L. Bush. Who else do you have on there?
Oh, my gosh. I've got people. We've actually got 2 listeners that are in France.
Oh.
Wait, one in France and one in Ethiopia.
Hey, y'all.
Yeah, howdy. Koulibaly Musa from France.
Yeah, bonjour.
Mekonnen Yaragal, and she lives in Ethiopia. And we've got, Angie, and Shelley Sutherland is listening.
Angie Salazar in Colorado.
No, Angie Salazar, but it's Sutherland. She's also our former call screener and producer. And Western Readers and Writers Associations following us. Luz Macias, David Leon, Paco Gomez de la Fuente.
I mentioned L. Bush.
Yes.
Is looking at us on
El
there.
Bush. A lot of our regular listeners, Vince Sanchez commented about camping out at Hueco tanks back in the 60s.
You can still camp out there. They do have 20 campsites and toilets and electricity and everything.
But it gets booked up real quick.
And I think they may or may not be open at this time. All right, take another break here. Call us if you need to. Otherwise, put a notice on Facebook, El Paso History Radio Show, and we're streaming all over the place. And we thanks to Barbara Given Bainey for putting us on her page out there. Remember, in El Paso Win.
And the El Paso History Alliance.
The Alliance has it now. Yep. And also our thanks to the man in the control room, Andrew J. Polk, who is engineering all of this because he splits the breaks. We do the regular radio breaks. He has another set of breaks that run on the Facebook feed because if you put music on the Facebook feed, they get mad.
This is all new stuff.
Well, we're getting used to this. It's getting better. And Andrew, thank you for knowing what you're doing. He does this Monday through Friday here in the same studio on Talk El Paso. So listen to him Monday through Friday. Talk El Paso. Talk Radio is back in El Paso Monday through Friday with Andrew J. Polk. So, all right, we'll be back in just a moment.
You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
This radio show is now streaming on the Facebook page Remember in El Paso When, run by Barbara Given-Baney. These streamed El Paso History Radio shows will be archived in that page's section of videos. We still archive the audio of these radio shows on ephistory.com, and you can go there online and find our radio shows for the last several years. Go to ephistory.com and access the El Paso History Radio Show archives for every Saturday radio show back to early 2016.
Many retired El Paso area homeowners don't know where to begin when it comes to downsizing and selling their home. Patrick Tuttle and his Legacy Home team follow a proven process to help retired homeowners sell faster and for more money. Call Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850 today and get your home sold faster and for more money. That's Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850. Call him today.
El Paso History TV is now available for free on YouTube.com. Take a look at recent ABC 7 news reports by Bernie Sargent on El Paso History TV about Waco tanks, the Franklin Mountains, Concordia Cemetery, and more. The YouTube channel also has more than 100 videos about El Paso history with lectures, documentaries, and various history clips. Go to youtube.com/El Paso History TV and find out how Texas history begins in El Paso.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
Monterey Asset Management is proud to sponsor the El Paso History Show. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the stock market, maybe you should invest in real estate. Monterey Asset manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell properties. To learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate, call Certified Property Manager Ray Baca at 915-592-4549. Call Monterey Asset Management to discuss your personal financial needs at 592-4549. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live with video right here on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com. Our live streaming on Facebook started on November 21st, 2020, with our tribute to Leon Metz, which you can now listen to here on our Facebook page, El Paso History Radio Show. Scroll down our page to find that archive in our videos section. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso.
Take the rest of this hour and talk about Waco tanks. Next hour, we're talking about Magoffin Home. And if you want to get a hold of them to look at a tour, I think they're still having tours. We'll find out when they show up on the radio. But they're basically open down there, I believe, for tours. And you can ring them up 533-5147 and talk about getting a reservation for a spot down there.
Yeah.
And do you have something to talk about people on the... looking at us here?
Oh, yeah. I would say we have other people. Like I said, we've got different organizations. We have, I don't know if I mentioned them before, Luz Macias, David Leon, Elle Bush, she was very surprised we mentioned her name. We did it again.
There it is.
We're
You're
gonna
famous
keep you.
now.
And we got a lot of great people. We've got people from Dallas listening. We've got, that's Michael Potter. I think you mentioned him. It's just, I'm looking at so many people that can't keep track of them all. This is great.
Well, we've gone worldwide with this stuff. It was on streaming audio all along for the last 10 years. But now you put it on Facebook, it's like, oh, wow. And should we just say hello to everybody on Facebook?
Hello.
Wait, no, over here.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, hey. But as it goes,
Wake up.
We got Dr. David Carmichael here. David, there's a number of Native Americans who have traditionally claimed Waco tanks as part of their heritage. I think that's one way to put it. And also some of them, I know that I've heard them say it, that they have burials out there. How big a deal is that? Because to me, that was one of the major things I learned about why the area seemed to be sacred. And you're telling me the rocks themselves were sacred, but I sort of thought it was because it was burials out there. What do you think?
Well, there's been, as far as we know, there's only been one site much excavated there. It was excavated in the 1970s, and it produced, a handful of burials, maybe 5, 4, something like that. Those were from the Mogollon tradition. We don't know who the people were, who the tribes were that far back, but it is generally accepted that the Mogollon tradition is the ancestors of today's Pueblo people all over the Southwest. So that's some concern, but that's not necessarily the reason that the overall park is sacred. And the tribes that have, expressed recent contemporary concern or interest in the park include the Tiguas and the Mescalero Apaches and the Kiowas. Even the Hopis still recognize some ancestry from that region. And the reason that I think a lot of tribes feel so strongly about Waco Tanks is because it's a place of power. It's a place where spiritual power or spiritual essence is either obtained or it's required when you interact with the space, with the place. The way this was explained to me once was if you think about Through the Looking Glass, Alice in Wonderland.
Right.
Alice goes through the mirror to access the other dimension. And that's the way many Native people view parts of the landscape. So when you go underneath the rocks or into a cave at Waco Tanks, you're going into the earth or under the earth, and you're at the same time making a spiritual journey to the other dimension, the spirit dimension. And that's the important dimension. So that's a portal into a place of reverence and a place of healing and a place of enhanced understanding.
Okay, I can go there. But I can't go there. Without a guide, you can't go to most of these places in Waco Tanks, right?
Right.
When to talk about
there's another aspect to that journey. Many of these rock art sites, both at Waco and elsewhere throughout the Southwest, are associated with medicinal or psychotropic plants.
Oh.
And so those plants would be part of the process of a sacred journey or part of the process of treating a patient who's been diagnosed, but with help from the other dimension. And we even see at some places in Waco where their native tobacco plant or datura still growing out there in direct association with the rock art.
Tobacco was a big deal to the Indians, different from what, a pack of Marlboros is easy to get at the Circle K.
Ceremonial.
But back in the day, that was a big deal for Native Americans, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was stronger than what we have today, too.
Like Pall Malls. Okay, I get it. Anyway.
Non-filter, yeah.
Yeah, to the point of Waco Tanks being a place where Native tribes claim it, there is an area called, I believe, Mescalero Canyon. You mentioned something like Comanche Canyon, and also the Tiguas, their symbol for Speaking Rock is the same thing as some of the rock art out there. Talk about that for a moment.
Yeah, Mescalero, the names that we apply to these places today are kind of unfortunate.
Oh.
Once a name gets into the literature, it's stuck. And these names were named, they were sort of picked out of the air. Mescalero Canyon actually is an okay name, but the site Comanche Cave, we don't have any evidence that the Comanches used it. We have evidence that the Mescaleros used it.
Wow, okay.
And we have evidence that the Teguas used it.
Okay, that's kind of like Aztec Cave in the Franklin Mountains. There were no Aztecs there, but somebody named it that.
Right.
I get it. Okay.
Right.
But the thing is, those tribes still, I know the Teguas still go out there and have ceremonies and do reverent things that we're not supposed to know about.
Sure. Well, the Kiowas were there very briefly in 1839, but they still return occasionally to visit the site because knowing about the past is a sacred endeavor, and it roots you to your past. It demonstrates who you are. So that's why people, even if they're not living in the area, they'll come and visit or have pilgrimages to the site. Mescaleros were using the site probably between maybe the 1750s and up until about 1900, and then they didn't use the site much until maybe 1980 something.
We got back into it, yeah.
In that interim there, from 1900 onward to the present, it's been primarily Teguas using that site.
Well, David Carmichael,
so it's important to multiple groups.
Oh yeah, I know it is. And the people rock climbing, the people who do picnicking, that's all still going on with some clarity put on by the park people. You can't just go do anything anymore. David Carmichael, I want to thank you for being with us today. Can you come back again and talk about other native areas someday?
Sure.
Okay.
Give me a ring.
Well, I will do that. In the meantime, thank you for joining us here, Dr. David Carmichael.
Yeah,
if you want to take a real cool anthropology course, talk to Dr. David at UTEP, right? Fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
All right, Dave, we'll see you again. Next hour, we're going to talk about the other Texas State Historic Site, and that is the Magoffin home. Check us out after the news. We'll be here. Thanks a lot.
You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
This radio show is now streaming on the Facebook page Remember in El Paso When, run by Barbara Given-Baney. These streamed El Paso History Radio shows will be archived in that page's section of videos. We still archive the audio of these radio shows on ephistory.com, and you can go there online and find our radio shows for the last several years. Go to ephistory.com and access the El Paso History Radio Show archives for every Saturday radio show back to early 2016.
Many retired El Paso area homeowners don't know where to begin when it comes to downsizing and selling their home. Patrick Tuttle and his Legacy Home team follow a proven process to help retired homeowners sell faster and for more money. Call Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850 today and get your home sold faster and for more money. That's Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850. Call him today.
El Paso History TV is now available for free on YouTube.com. Take a look at recent ABC 7 news reports by Bernie Sargent on El Paso History TV about Waco tanks, the Franklin Mountains, Concordia Cemetery, and more. The YouTube channel also has more than 100 videos about El Paso history with lectures, documentaries, and various history clips. Go to youtube.com/El Paso History TV and find out how Texas history begins in El Paso.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
Monterey Asset Management is proud to sponsor the El Paso History Show. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the stock market, maybe you should invest in real estate. Monterey Asset manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell properties. To learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate, call Certified Property Manager Ray Baca at 915-592-4549. Call Monterey Asset Management to discuss your personal financial needs at 592-4549. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live with video right here on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com. Our live streaming on Facebook started on November 21st, 2020, with our tribute to Leon Metz, which you can now listen to here on our Facebook page, El Paso History Radio Show. Scroll down our page to find that archive in our videos section. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
This radio show is now streaming on the Facebook page Remember in El Paso When, run by Barbara Given Bainey. These streamed El Paso History Radio shows will be archived in that page's section of videos. We still archive the audio of these radio shows on ephistory.com, and you can go there online and find our radio shows for the last several years. Go to ephistory.com and access the El Paso History Radio Show archives for every Saturday radio show back to early 2016.
Many retired El Paso area homeowners don't know where to begin when it comes to downsizing and selling their home. Patrick Tuttle and his Legacy Home team follow a proven process to help retired homeowners sell faster and for more money. Call Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850 today and get your home sold faster and for more money. That's Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850. Call him today.
El Paso History TV is now available for free on YouTube.com. Take a look at recent ABC 7 news reports by Bernie Sargent on El Paso History TV about Waco tanks, the Franklin Mountains, Concordia Cemetery, and more. The YouTube channel also has more than 100 videos about El Paso history with lectures, documentaries, and various history clips. Go to youtube.com/El Paso History TV and find out how Texas history begins in El Paso.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
Monterey Asset Management is proud to sponsor the El Paso History Show. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the stock market, maybe you should invest in real estate. Monterey Asset manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell properties. To learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate, call Certified Property Manager Ray Baca at 915-592-4549. Call Monterey Asset Management to discuss your personal financial needs at 592-4549. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live with video right here on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com. Our live streaming on Facebook started on November 21st, 2020, with our tribute to Leon Metz, which you can now listen to here on our Facebook page, El Paso History Radio Show. Scroll down our page to find that archive in our videos section. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
This radio show is now streaming on the Facebook page Remember in El Paso When, run by Barbara Given Bainey. These streamed El Paso history radio shows will be archived in that page's section of videos. We still archive the audio of these radio shows on ephistory.com, and you can go there online and find our radio shows for the last several years. Go to ephistory.com and access the El Paso.
We are back for Hour 2 of the El Paso History Radio Show, streaming live on Facebook, a bunch of places apparently, and also on AM 690, as it always is. Thank you guys for joining us however you got here. We want to start Hour 2 of the El Paso History Radio Show like we normally do, with an El Paso history moment written and produced by Melissa Sargent. Second point to you now, and people can say, there she is.
She is. That's
How about
her.
that?
There's the voice.
Are you ready, Andrew? Here it comes. Her topic today is about using blimps in 1920 to watch the border.
Early aeronautics on the border. U.S. Army Camp Owen Beeran, later known as Biggs Airfield, was opened in 1920 as home to one of the first C-1 semi-rigid airships that was going to be used as part of the team of airships to patrol the U.S.-Mexican border, from the Pacific Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. What with the continued unrest in neighboring Mexico, bootleggers smuggling liquor, and raids by Mexican bandits robbing U.S. ranchers along the border, the Army felt these airships could be used as excellent observation posts silently traveling the border. A huge airship hangar was built to house the C-1 airship. The hangar, unfortunately, was built with a north-south orientation, and with El Paso's prevailing winds blowing down off the Franklin Mountains west to east, it made it nearly impossible to deploy the airship from the hangar, in all but the calmest of winds, a rarity in West Texas. But this was not the only problem with these large lighter-than-air ships. Other airships in the team suffered crashes and other operational problems, and the program was soon abandoned. More history next week on El Paso History Moments. I'm Melissa Sargent for the El Paso History Alliance.
I remember seeing those blimps come through in modern times.
Oh, yeah, the Goodyear blimp and the small ones, the Fujifilm.
They have a hard time sometimes if they come in the wrong day.
Well, a lot of them, they stay out at Santa Teresa.
Right.
Because they'll come over our house, buzz around, and then they head right across over there just to spend the night.
You got this going for the History Alliance these days.
Yes, for the El Paso History Alliance, which has got over 50,000 followers. They're all interested in the history. It's amazing.
It is tough.
And you can check them out at their Facebook page, El Paso History Alliance page. And also, we got to mention another great partner who's helping us out with this, and that's Barbara Given Bainey and
BGB.
her crew. Yeah, BGB. Her crew, who is an operator of a great Facebook page called Remember in El Paso When, and they're over 33,000 plus members. And it's a great site if you've never been there. They've got stories and pictures and people sharing their own family stories, and it's great. I really, really enjoy it.
Their picture archive is incredible on Facebook. Take a look at stuff in there. Also, moderator Craig Hayes and Barbara is the chief bottle washer, Ken Weiss and Paul Louie. And it's an interesting crowd there, so check them out when you can. All right.
It takes a lot of work.
Shall we turn our attentions now to Hour 2 guests and topics?
I think so.
And in Hour 2, we explore the impact of the Magoffin family and their historic hacienda on El Paso with site manager Jeff Harris and program specialist Michelle Ranglewood. Good morning to Jeff and good morning to Michelle. How you guys doing? I just knocked off Jeff. Hey, Jeff is going to have to call back. And let's see if I can get Michelle in there. You know, I blew them both off.
Well, let me tell you a little bit more about him while we're waiting to get that straightened out. Jeff Harris is the site manager for Magoffin Home, and Jeff, he began volunteering in museums at age 15 after working as an educator and lawyer. His love of museums led him to a career change to the museum work full-time. And Michelle, she's been an education and public events coordinator at Texas Historical Commission's Magoffin Home for last 4 years, and she previously spent a decade conserving and reproducing decorative finishes in historically significant buildings across the U.S. So, I mean, they both come with wonderful accolades and history and have done a lot for Magoffin Home.
And they quit being dial tone now. I got them back.
Are they alive?
Hey, Jeff, good morning.
There they are.
Hi, Jackson. Hi, Melissa. How are you?
Fine.
I warned you I could do that real easy. What I did is I hit the buttons out of order. Sorry about that. So good morning, Jeff Harris. And you're the site manager there. We got your picture up on the streaming site here. And also,
okay.
Michelle, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
We're doing all right here. We have read your bios. I hope we got you right. You may not have heard it as the phone dialing was going on.
Well, they were all lies.
But Jeff, as the site manager of the Magoffin home, tell us why the Magoffin home is what it is, and why is the Magoffin home, which is on Magoffin Avenue, oddly enough, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is it a Texas State Historic Site?
Well, actually, we're on the corner of Octavia and Magoffin,
Yes.
and Octavia is Joseph Magoffin's wife. So she was the first woman of El Paso for a while. I remember in 1976 with the bicentennial. That's when Magoffin became a state site. I remember all the bicentennial hoopla. I had just started college. In my hometown, they painted all the fire hydrants red, white, and blue. They had little tableaus, and they did some parades and things. But there was a lot of interest in history generally. And I know that influenced one of the reasons the Magoffin home was restored and taken care of so fabulously.
Well, Janice Woods Wendell was one of those people back in the day with Mayor Don Henderson. And together they figured out that we have to save the site because I think the housing people wanted to blow it away and put in more affordable housing, shall we say.
Yeah, that's what I understand. I've talked with Janice a couple of times.
And
she's fabulous lady.
Well, yeah, she understands how to save El Paso history. Hats off to her. The idea of having a Magoffin home, I remember, Michelle, you're in El Paso, and you went away and got a career in wood restoration and old buildings and stuff, didn't you?
It was actually finishes restoration, although I did give one very interesting lecture on wood preservation in Galveston. But yeah, my specialties are finishes.
Okay, but you showed back up to do work on the Magoffin home, and you say, well, I'm going back to my old hometown. I'll just go back and work on the Magoffin home. Isn't that basically what happened to you?
Yes, that's exactly it. I came back for a restoration project back in 2011, working with Source Historical Services, and I fell in love with the place, absolutely. And then when the educator position opened up, I applied immediately.
Well, that's a good thing you got it, because you are somebody who really cares about El Paso history. Now, when you grew up, Michelle, in El Paso, were you taught any of this history?
No, I wasn't. Actually, I can't tell you how many times I now give tours to school students, and I ask these questions specifically knowing that I wasn't taught this growing up in school here in El Paso.
Same with me. I went 1 through 12 plus 1 UTEP, but nobody explained to me the Magoffin home back in the day. Actually, before, just a quick aside on my life, my mother knew Josephine, my grandmother knew Josephine Magoffin. I was in that home when I was 5 years old and when I was 9 years old as a tourist. Not as a tourist, but as a family member's friend.
That is so cool.
They tried to make me sleep back in that back room with those wire beds. I remember dusty old wire beds, and I didn't know anything to do with it. My grandmother, go take a nap, kid. Anyway, but the point is that's how far back that place goes. And Josephine was still around back in the 50s, and so that's how I happen to know. I remember I could have drawn you a floor plan back when I was a kid. But to the point of nowadays, it's an historic site. Jeff, as a manager here, what do you think of this place? How does it rate with buildings across the Southwest? Because this architecture is unusual to be so preserved, isn't it?
Well, it's a pretty amazing place in a lot of ways. It's the only house museum in El Paso. It's made of adobe. When Joseph built the house in 1875, there's only 700 people in El Paso, and railroads arrived beginning in 1881, and when Joseph dies, there's over 77,000 people. So that's how quickly El Paso starts to grow. And when the railroads arrived, people stopped building in adobe. And the Magoffin home is also very representative of El Paso, because Joseph is the grandson of an Irish immigrant, but his mother is Mexican of Spanish descent. they have a Chinese tenant gardener, and they have so many Jewish friends that put menorahs on the mantle at Christmas.
I have a clip.
That is El Paso.
I have a clip I want to play about that, but it came from a documentary we did about it. And it's Suzanne Michaels talking about how this place was a Mexican household. Andrew, when you're ready.
Joseph and Octavia Magoffin built this home. Then for the next century, their children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren lived here. This old adobe house was modernized as times changed, but one constant remained. Generations of Magoffins who mixed their Mexican ancestry with Irish roots to form a uniquely American family.
Interesting history there. I just want to make sure people understand that even though the name is Magoffin sounding Irish, that was an incredibly Mexican household, was it not?
Yes, absolutely.
It was both. Joseph, like I said, his grandfather was a Irish immigrant, but his mother's family, some of the first settlers in San Antonio.
And also, didn't he grow up in Mexico for a while, Joseph?
Yes, he actually was born in Mexico and raised there until the age of 8.
So he would have been our first El Paso mayor born in Mexico, I think, right?
Yes, as far as I understand, he was the 4th mayor, so not too many before him, so yes.
But he was also one of the, talk about being a founder of El Paso industry, because what he did, just list them off, the water company, the gas, what else did he do?
Gas, electric company. He also had 2 lines of horse-drawn carriages that were like public transportation. So he had his hand in public transportation. He, of course, was the one who negotiated to bring that first train here in 1881, he and Charles Moorhead. He actually brought Charles Moorhead from Kansas to El Paso. Now, Charles Moorhead actually had served as mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas, and then later on, at Joseph's behest, comes to El Paso and later on becomes mayor of El Paso as well.
Interesting thing. They stayed in that room where I couldn't take my nap. I remember that when I did the videos, I'm thinking this room is very familiar for some reason, and it turns out that Joseph Magoffin brought those guys in. And let's just put the undercurrent here. They were all Freemasons, were they not?
Yes, they were. But also understand that Joseph doesn't become a Freemason until 1870. So he actually had lived here for about 2 years before he petitions. And I actually have seen his petition to El Paso Lodge 130 here in El Paso, and it was handwritten, done on New Year's Day, 1870.
Well, that's the point. Freemasonry was kind of a glue. We had a show earlier this year about that, how Freemasonry was a glue that kind of held a lot of the old United States beginnings together, and most people don't know that. And I just wanted to point that out, that the man, Joseph Magoffin, although he was Catholic, he was also a Freemason, and back in the day, that was a bit of a contradiction to some people. But anyway, just wanted to make sure we understood that. We're showing right now some pictures of the old house and some of the new house, and it's amazing to see the transformation. Either one of you, talk for a minute about what Josephine did, because the 1896 house, shall we call it, has returned. But in the meantime, in 1930 to about 2004, Josephine's house was there. Explain what I'm talking about.
Yeah, so when Josephine inherits the home in 1923 after Joseph's death, for a little while it's spent, she actually, of course, is traveling with her husband who's in the military, so it actually was rented out. And then about 1927-ish, she has the home renovated so that they can actually move in there at his retirement. And so what she does is she plasters right over her mother's wallpaper, directly on top of it.
Oh, my.
And smooths the wall, gives it this Santa Fe look. She puts in this recessed lighting that's really just amazing, especially when you consider this is 1929.
Yeah, it is great.
It's beautiful. And she takes the mantas off the ceiling so you can see the vigas and latillas in the ceiling, and takes off the carpeting from the floor to expose the wood floors.
And once she took off the ceiling, what did you call them?
Mantas.
And what was the point of that?
It was to give a smooth look to the ceiling. It looks, if you go into our formal parlor, the mantas there, it looks like a smooth ceiling, but it also helped protect the room from any sort of like dust or particulate falling between the latillas in the ceiling.
Because the roof was made out of adobe, right?
That's correct.
Dirt reed.
That always just blows me up.
Vegetation and another foot thick of adobe.
It blows me away that the roof was made out of adobe.
I understand that manta is the Spanish word for blanket.
Yeah.
It's a ceiling blanket.
It was catching the dust from getting on the furniture.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
See, listen to what they had to do back then, and tell me about their air conditioning. Open the door.
You mean their windows and their their doors and stuff. Yeah, the house is brilliantly designed where you have a lot of cross flow of big giant windows. The front and back door in the hall actually has what you either would call side lights or side transoms, and they open up.
Oh, there's a lot to that house. We got to take a break here. We're talking with Jeff Harris and Michelle Ranglewood, and we got your pictures up on Facebook as we're streaming this out now. And if you need to know what that is, take a look at Facebook. You can go to the page El Paso History Radio Show, and we'll wave at you here and say howdy. But in the meantime, we got pictures of the Magoffin home going by here, and our guests are the people who work there. And we appreciate your time this morning. We're going to come back in a minute and talk more about it. But in the meantime, we're going to take a break here, and people could call us if they needed to. Oh, one before we do that, you're going to go to Pepe's today?
Yes, I'm going to go to Pepe's today, and I think Bernie's going with me, I hope.
I'm going to swing by quickly and get some takeout. So
wave at everybody.
I will
wave at the fans.
I'll wave at the people because I need to support Pepe's. He's a good guy. Okay.
Yeah, maybe some of these people have been watching on Facebook could join us too. Gracie Viramontes, Chris Babcock, Rick Melendez, Bob Marshall, Stephen Paxson, Irene Roma, and as Wendell Stinnett. A
lot of people out
there.
there.
Cool new group of people I've never heard of.
And don't be surprised if you're also hearing us on the page, Remember in El Paso When.
That's right.
Andrew has streamed us on over there, and you got on the History Alliance
El
as well.
Paso History Alliance.
So we're out on Facebook in big force today if you want to know what's going on there. And in the meantime, we're going to take a break. And the 690 ads will run on 690. We have a separate set of ads that have to run on Facebook just because.
Yeah.
And don't ask me why.
Keeps the lights on.
It does something for it. In the meantime, okay, we have a phone line open if anybody wants to call. What's that number?
915-544-5876 or 915-544-KTSM.
You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
This radio show is now streaming on the Facebook page Remember in El Paso When, run by Barbara Given-Baney. These streamed El Paso History Radio shows will be archived in that page's section of videos. We still archive the audio of these radio shows on ephistory.com, and you can go there online and find our radio shows for the last several years. Go to ephistory.com and access the El Paso History Radio Show archives for every Saturday radio show back to early 2016.
Many retired El Paso area homeowners don't know where to begin when it comes to downsizing and selling their home. Patrick Tuttle and his Legacy Home team follow a proven process to help retired homeowners sell faster and for more money. Call Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850 today and get your home sold faster and for more money. That's Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850. Call him today.
El Paso History TV is now available for free on YouTube.com. Take a look at recent ABC 7 news reports by Bernie Sargent on El Paso History TV about Waco tanks, the Franklin Mountains, Concordia Cemetery, and more. The YouTube channel also has more than 100 videos about El Paso history with lectures, documentaries, and various history clips. Go to youtube.com/El Paso History TV and find out how Texas history begins in El Paso.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
Monterey Asset Management is proud to sponsor the El Paso History Show. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the stock market, maybe you should invest in real estate. Monterey Asset manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell properties. To learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate, call Certified Property Manager Ray Baca at 915-592-4549. Call Monterey Asset Management to discuss your personal financial needs at 592-4549. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live with video right here on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com. Our live streaming on Facebook started on November 21st, 2020, with our tribute to Leon Metz, which you can now listen to here on our Facebook page, El Paso History Radio Show. Scroll down our page to find that archive in our videos section. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas.
Being live as we are, we're still on 690. Got to tell you, coming in next week on December the 12th, the topic is the International Boundary and Water Commission. And that may sound kind of like bureaucratic, which it is, but what they've done over the years, I mean, they were here before anybody else. Back in the day, way back there. So they had a lot to do with most of El Paso's history, and we're going to hear that explained by Mark Howe, current IBWC Cultural Resources Specialist, and Gabe Duran. I like to trill that R. There's only one R in there. Gabe Duran, a former IBWC employee. And one thing they're going to take on this time, there's been what Mark does. He wanders around on the areas that they're in charge of, which is all the border.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
all the way up to Elephant Butte.
Yeah, even farther. He goes into California and some things. It's amazing where he is.
With the border. And the thing is, though, he's an archaeology kind of guy, does stuff there. And Gabe is going to explain chamizal, which is a bit unusual.
He has great history on that.
Oh, my God. All right, that's December 12th next week. December 19th, the topic is early artists. And our guest is Hal Marcus. We had to reschedule Hal because when we had the Leon tribute, we had to move Hal. And thank him kindly for his understanding of that. But see, El Paso artist and gallery owner, he lists El Paso artists from here who painted our history onto their canvases, and Hal, along with his wife Patricia Medici, will share our early El Paso Masters Dead Artist exhibit. That's an exhibit in their gallery on Oregon Street. So Hal knows art about El Paso. Yeah. He'll be fun. December 26th, David Romo, Max Grossman, and Father Rafael Garcia. A lot more to say about the history and culture of the Segundo Barrio and why the restoration of the most important building there, according to Max, is a watershed event. Hour 1, the history of Segundo Barrio with Father Garcia and David Romo. Hour 2, Sacred Heart Church and its restoration. Father Garcia sticks with us, and Max Grossman shows up. Talk about, and there's fundraising. Mm-hmm. And it'll be just in time for fundraising if you want to write a check in this fiscal year. And then one more thing, January 2nd, 2021, Samuel Dolan. He's going to show up in his new book, El Paso. And it's spanning a 30-year period from the late 1800s until about 1920s. It's the true story of the desperate men and notorious women that made El Paso. And he's a researcher from outside looking in here.
He's acted in movies. He produces TV shows. He's author. He does a lot of articles for True West magazine. The guy is just all over the place. He's amazing, the stuff he can do. I'll be interested to hear his stories.
He likes our history here. So
he's been listening to us, been watching the show and listening, not watching, but listening to the show for a couple of years now. So
he says it's supported by official court documents, government records, oral histories, and period newspaper accounts. A bird's eye view of the one-time murder metropolis is what he calls us. Oh, my God. So you got some more people looking at insights.
I've got insights coming up. This is going to be a fun one. It's going to be a Zoom presentation, and it's Nerd Night. Holiday Spirits virtual cocktail event, and they're going to be talking about cocktail chemistry sets, Sun City Distillery Tour. They're going to be talking about Prohibition bootlegging, which Bernie Sargent's going to be doing that presentation. I know.
He's a bootlegger. I know
I have to keep the bottles away from him while he's doing this. And this will all be done on Zoom. And for event details, again, this is going to be December 10th. They do not have the time here. But, there it is, December 10th at 6 p.m., and you can have your own spirits while you're drinking. I'll be watching the show. So go over to insightselpaso.org. And you can find out about the program there and how you can tune in. That'll be fun.
All right, we're still talking Magoffin home, Michelle Ranglewood and Jeff Harris, but we're going to add a caller in here named Patricia. Patricia Kidney, good morning. How are you?
Oh, good morning. I'm just so thrilled to be able to talk to you guys today because my heart is so full of appreciation for the Christmas holiday wreaths that we laid at Concordia today.
Oh, you've done that?
Oh, it was today.
Okay.
It was today, and we laid approximately 250 some odd holiday wreaths, and they'll be up until New Year's Day.
Can we come see them, or how's that work?
You can. We're inviting the public to come out and to see how Concordia and our partnership with the Combat Veterans Motorcycle Association came about to remember all of the veterans here, which it's kind of partnered with the Wreaths Across America. But in this case, we're honoring those that are not at the national and the state cemeteries, veteran
enough.
cemeteries. So that's why they chose Concordia.
All right, Concordia Cemetery open today until what time?
Oh, 5 o'clock
And
every
you-
day.
and what-
8 o'clock to 5 o'clock.
What's the best entrance to pick on?
They're at every entrance. The Buffalo Soldier Memorial, you can park there
Oh,
and
okay.
walk through. You
On
can,
Stevens Street
many
in Yandell?
the Masonic area.
And Yandell.
And in the regular area. So any area you choose. And, of course, we have our beloved Leon Metz.
He's
who's
there.
all the way back at the south wall.
Yeah, he's there
And
now.
he's a veteran
And
also.
he's got one. Yes, he.
Cool.
We made sure he was late. So we just want to encourage everyone to just drive through and to remember our vets and our veterans, and we certainly don't forget them.
Patricia Kidney, thank you for ringing up with that. See you at
Thank
lunch.
you.
You never know.
I will be there. Thank you.
She will be there.
You take her easy. Thanks for
Bye.
calling. All right, you take her easy.
That's a great thing.
And we still have Michelle and Jeff here. And one thing about, she mentioned veterans. The Magoffin people, you had at least two people went to West Point, did you not, in the Magoffin family?
Yes, actually, I believe it was 3.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jeff, how many? What happened to Jeff?
I don't know.
He's wandering. No.
Jeff's light is still lit. Jeff went down the hallway. I have no idea where Jeff is. But tell us, who was it? Because I remember one thing, that when Josephine renovated the 1896 look, and she did that in, you said, the 1920s, and she put up some lamps that had military figures on them, didn't she?
Yeah, we do have some stuff back in collections. The lamps I think that you're talking about, they were kind of like wall sconce type lamps.
And they had a military guy on the side of it, I think.
Correct.
And let's talk about Jeff. Are you with us? All right, I'm going to drop off Jeff's phone line here, Andrew, and he may call back here. But Jeff, you're about to go away and come back on that number that I gave you. That may be him calling in there now, Andrew. Anyway, so the whole thing is the military people. We had major West Point people, and you said that Josephine and her husband. And what was her full name, married name?
Josephine Richardson Magoffin Glasgow.
And so It was General Glasgow who basically went there to retire.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he retired in 1927. After his retirement, he actually worked for ASARCO.
Oh, did he?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have Jeff back here. Jeff, we lost you somewhere. Thanks for ringing back. But we're talking about, Jeff, the military people that were Magoffins. And where's any of those people buried?
Actually, Joseph's son-in-law is buried at Fort Bliss. Joseph himself is a military guy. He served in the Civil War. He's buried at Evergreen Cemetery. Some of the Magoffin grandchildren and great-grandchildren also served in the war.
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of history there. We're going to take one more break and come. Go ahead.
I was going to say Joseph's dad was also involved in what they call the bloodless conquest of Santa Fe.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yes. Interesting history there. All right, we're going to take one more break and come back. And I'm sorry if I lost you there, but we got you back. And we'll come back and we're going to talk. We're coming back with El Paso Inc.
Yes.
Oh, that's going to be
come
interesting.
back talking about this.
All right. Shall we take a break?
Yes, we shall.
Call us if you need to.
915-5 644-5876 or 915-544-KTSM.
You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
This radio show is now streaming on the Facebook page Remember in El Paso When, run by Barbara Given Bainey. These streamed El Paso history radio shows will be archived in that page's section of videos. We still archive the audio of these radio shows on ephistory.com, and you can go there online and find our radio shows for the last several years. Go to ephistory.com and access the El Paso History Radio Show archives for every Saturday radio show back to early 2016.
Many retired El Paso area homeowners don't know where to begin when it comes to downsizing and selling their home. Patrick Tuttle and his Legacy Home team follow a proven process to help retired homeowners sell faster and for more money. Call Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850 today and get your home sold faster and for more money. That's Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850. Call him today.
El Paso History TV is now available for free on YouTube.com. Take a look at recent ABC 7 news reports by Bernie Sargent on El Paso History TV about Waco tanks, the Franklin Mountains, Concordia Cemetery, and more. The YouTube channel also has more than 100 videos about El Paso history with lectures, documentaries, and various history clips. Go to youtube.com/El Paso History TV and find out how Texas history begins in El Paso.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
Monterey Asset Management is proud to sponsor the El Paso History Show. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the stock market, maybe you should invest in real estate. Monterey Asset manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell properties. To learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate, call Certified Property Manager Ray Baca at 915-592-4549. Call Monterey Asset Management to discuss your personal financial needs at 592-4549. You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM.
We're going to take a moment here and explain to you what's going on this week only in this week. Stand by for Melissa to find the page.
She had the wrong
This week only in El Paso Inc.
Who will be this year's El Pasoan of the Year? I don't think it's going to be me.
No.
Learn more about the nominees and keep an eye out for the big announcement.
There's always an El Paso connection. This time, one El Pasoan was behind a vaccine push that involved the king himself back in the day, Elvis Presley.
The incoming district attorney defends her decision to shake up the DA's office as some attorneys lose their jobs and enter a tight job market for El Paso lawyers.
El Paso's business journal, El Paso Inc., is available for home or business delivery.
Go to elpasoinc.com and order it online.
Tomorrow night on ABC 7 Extra, Nate Ryan is the host for a special extra on the status of college and high school sports in these pandemic times. His guests are people who work in the high school and college industry of sports.
Join host Nate Ryan for ABC 7 Extra Sunday night at 10:35 p.m.
All right, we got Michelle Wood, Wranglewood, and you have also Jeff Harris. We had a caller off air, didn't want to get on and ask the question, but they asked the question to us, and that was, I thought the Magoffins were from Kentucky. Well, how do you deal with that one?
So James Wiley Magoffin was actually born in Kentucky. His father, Bariah Magoffin, had arrived from County Down, Ireland.
See, there it is,
married.
right there it is. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and lived in Kentucky.
And so the kid came over and was born in Mexico.
Yes.
Okay, so we got that all figured out. But the whole thing is, it was an interesting family mix, and I want to stress that they spoke Spanish in that house primarily during the day, did they not?
They did speak Spanish a lot. In fact, we even have letters that switch back and forth from English and Spanish. It's very El Paso.
Well, that's what I remember talking to. I mean, years ago, the people are all gone now, but there was a councilwoman in El Paso, and I met her at a fundraiser, and I was talking about how great the Magoffin home was. She sort of scoffed at it and said, well, that's just a bunch of Anglo people. Well, it's not really the history of El Paso. I said, wait a minute, lady. You do not know what you're talking about. And, of course, she probably grew up in El Paso, and like you and I, Michelle, was not taught El Paso history. It floors me how this is such great stuff, and nobody teaches the kids here.
Yeah.
And what you guys do when you have the school bus tours come through is fabulous. People need to, when that's back again available, need to keep that up. Now, tell me, either one of you, that you are doing tours now on appointment, are you not?
We are. If you have to give us a call, we make reservations. We're going to ask you some questions. We're limiting to groups of 5 or less, and you have to arrive in the same car, be from the same household. So we're not going to mix you with anyone else that you don't already know.
Keep your germs to yourself. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Keep your germs to yourself.
Yeah, more or less. Keep your germs to yourself. And we are very careful. We follow all of the CDC recommendations plus some.
Well, you're a state historic site. You're a state function. You got to do everything the governor says, obviously.
Yeah, we do all the state and the CDC, and then even a couple of things on our own unique to this site.
But the point is, the Magoffin home on Magoffin Avenue is still open for tours. What's your phone number? They call you up, right?
It's area code 915-533-5147.
And you guys will give them a tour, or show. Is it self-guided these days, or how do you do that?
It is. It's self-guided at the moment, and you are given a guide to go through the home, and then, of course, we wait for you in the courtyard and answer all the questions.
It's a fabulous home. Talk about when you walk in, because the front door, you walk into basically a parlor.
Yeah,
Andrew.
It's an amazing home. The furnishings, I mean, we talked a little bit about the unique history and the unique home, but the furnishings are incredible. 80% of the things in the home are original to the family, which is unheard of in a house museum.
And they bequeathed it along with the house, and when the last relative lived there and used the furniture up until she left. She passed away.
Yeah, and she's an interesting story in her own right. She was an art teacher at Bowie High School and Radford School, and she taught Mania Costa and a bunch of other famous El Paso artists.
Oh, that's neat. You walk in, and the main hallway is where they also had their parties. Now, we did a reenactment down there, which is probably controversial in the history of historic buildings, but we did it. Yeah, you're laughing, but that.
I've seen it, so yes, I am laughing.
Oh my God!
in that, yes, you're right.
We would never get that done again, would we?
Oh my gosh!
No, I don't think so.
Especially with food all over the place and everything else in that historic home.
Yeah.
But the
It
point
was breaking every rule in the world to make that video.
Describe the table, which is normally a calm little table over in the dining room and sits there politely. What happened when that table was brought out to the main room?
Oh, they would expand it. Right now, it's sitting in the dining room, which is a small room, and it has 2 leaves in it. But that thing has 10 leaves, if you can imagine. And these leaves are not little tiny modern leaves. They're about 18 inches wide. So when it's fully expanded, it goes almost from door to door, as you probably remember.
Oh, my, yeah.
And it seats up to 30 people.
We had 21 that night.
Yeah.
And I want to thank the Six Guns and Shady Ladies, one of them sitting across the desk here.
Yes.
You guys went down there, but you dressed up not in your cowboy outfits. You dressed up in your townspeople.
That's right. We were all dressed up. We had people from Mexico that were there, officials from Mexico. We had the big hefties. It was an engagement party.
O.T. Bassett showed up.
Yes. And I was I was Octavia. That's
there you
right.
were.
A redheaded
it was
Octavia.
A beautiful scene. You guys had set that up beautifully.
It was fun. I think somebody still complained about how big the beard was on poor old
that was me.
Joseph. But anyway, That's the way it goes.
It was a last-minute thing.
But we actually and we actually served those poor reenactors, had to wait between courses, but they got to eat the 7-course dinner, which we got from a menu from the Magoffin home, where they had all these different courses, and I don't think they had enough wine.
Yeah, we needed more wine.
We needed a lot more. We needed more
cool.
wine.
You guys got to do something that I didn't get to do, so that I'm like so jealous.
Oh, it was
so
cool.
cool.
We went in the parlor room where we were all together, and then the men went off to have their cigars in one room, and the ladies were in the other room talking. We recreated it as it would have been back in that time period. It was fascinating.
They didn't actually light the cigars in the house.
They were walking around with them.
But they did drink the port. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yes, we did.
And I got to tell you, they sat on those fancy chairs with their fancy dresses. Once in a while, you just got to do it.
Is that video up on? Is that up
yes,
on?
that's also on YouTube right now. You can go see that for free.
Yeah, that was a great time.
Go to youtube.com, El Paso History TV, and you can see that video. But that was an incredible scene. I got to tell you one thing I did. You know, you have the rafters up there, and so I had to put a camera up there. And I'm thinking, how am I going to do that? So we got a big clamp and a couple of pieces of board that wouldn't hurt the actual wood that was up there. So we clamped the camera onto the rafters, and that's how we recorded the scene, because that's the only place we could see a wide shot. And it was a huge event. But the point is, go ahead.
I'm afraid you're going to give Jeff a heart attack saying all
that.
No, but
it was before his time, Jeff.
It's over with, Jeff. You can't say no now because we already did it. But go look at we were very kind to the house. We didn't do anything stupid. But we could have. We just didn't.
Yeah.
But they had the actual 7-course dinner catered in, and oh my God, that was fun. But the thing is, it was more fun now thinking about it than it was doing it, I must tell you. But it was a great event to recreate what those people did, because they partied all the time, didn't they?
They did. They had a lot of events. And actually, if you go back into the newspapers during that time, you can actually go to it on Portal to Texas History online. And there's all sorts of accountings of all the events and parties that the Magoffins threw. And it just sounds like such an amazing time.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to be a fly on the wall in those parties.
Well, Michelle, wasn't that the place for people
to... Go ahead, Jeff.
Some of the mentions talk about this home being a social center of El Paso.
Oh yeah, Melissa.
Well, and initially, I also understand that in the early days, way before El Paso was much bigger than it is now, is that they had anybody would come through town, even if they were strangers, they would stay at the Magoffin home as guests.
Yeah, the Magoffins were well known for their hospitality. In particular, Octavia had an incredible reputation in the city for her hospitality.
Great place. Also, we had a question off air come in on the phone. Was a Magoffin the oldest West Point graduate at one time? Was he? I don't remember which one. Oh, tell us about that.
Yeah, he served as the end of the long gray line, which is a tradition at West Point where they honor the oldest living graduate of West Point.
Oh.
And you have to understand, General Glasgow lived to be 101 years old.
So he got the job, being the oldest dude.
He actually held it for 3 years.
Oh,
he became the end of the long gray line at age 98, and until his passing at 101 years old.
My goodness. Before we go to break, I want to tell you one thing we found on Facebook here. Virginia, how do you say that, Gigi?
Oh, Virginia Gigi, which is probably for grandmother, Schuler Murphy, who is listening to us from Cape Cod.
Massachusetts, the listener out there. Good for you.
Cold. Send us some lobster, Gigi.
Oh, and she has a very rainy and dreary Saturday up there. We're doing good sunshine. It's kind of cold here, but I'll take this from what you got anyway.
We may be colder than they are.
But they've got the water. So anyway,
that's right.
Good to hear from you, Virginia. Thank you for listening in. Taking a break here. Come back and wrap this up with the Magoffin home people. And we're streaming live on Facebook.
That's right.
And that's that's about the third time we've done this. And, smile. And,
Smile and wave.
Well, I got to get used to that. I'm thinking.
I know, I have too.
Be careful what you do with your hands.
Your arm,
don't do that. Don't do that because they're watching. And Massachusetts people are watching now. Anyway,
that's right.
That's very cool. We can take one more phone call maybe after the break. Give us that number.
915-544-5876 or 915-544-KTSM.
You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show, which airs live on KTSM AM 690 in El Paso, Texas, and live right here now on our El Paso History Radio Show page on Facebook.com.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
This radio show is now streaming on the Facebook page Remember in El Paso When, run by Barbara Given Bainey. These streamed El Paso history radio shows will be archived in that page's section of videos. We still archive the audio of these radio shows on ephistory.com, and you can go there online and find our radio shows for the last several years. Go to ephistory.com and access the El Paso History Radio Show archives for every Saturday radio show back to early 2016.
Many retired El Paso area homeowners don't know where to begin when it comes to downsizing and selling their home. Patrick Tuttle and his Legacy Home team follow a proven process to help retired homeowners sell faster and for more money. Call Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850 today and get your home sold faster and for more money. That's Patrick Tuttle at 915-588-1850. Call him today.
El Paso History TV is now available for free on YouTube.com. Take a look at recent ABC 7 news reports by Bernie Sargent on El Paso History TV about Waco tanks, the Franklin Mountains, Concordia Cemetery, and more. The YouTube channel also has more than 100 videos about El Paso history with lectures, documentaries, and various history clips. Go to youtube.com/El Paso History TV and find out how Texas history begins in El Paso.
Visit Mission Del Rey Southwest for a huge selection of El Paso souvenirs and gifts. Mission Del Rey features El Paso saddle blanket products and thousands of Southwest, Western, Native American, and Mexico items for gifts and decor. Bring your friends and mention you heard us on the radio for a store-wide discount. Mission Del Rey Southwest, 1421 Lee Trevino. Enter on Pelicano. Go to missiondelrey.com or call 915-440-2140 for Mission Del Rey Southwest.
Monterey Asset Management is proud to sponsor the El Paso History Show. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the stock market, maybe you should invest in real estate. Monterey Asset manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell properties. To learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate, call Certified Property Manager Ray Baca at 91.
I just see another comment here on Facebook from Vince Sanchez. He says James Magoffin Wiley, or I think James Wiley Magoffin, the father of Joseph, led the first El Paso and southern New Mexico area salt war. There's another that's another movie we can do.
Oh, I know that
about El Paso history.
That was amazing.
And Vince has to be in it.
And his Magoffin's family, fingers were in everything business-wise. The trolley, the original trolley, electric company, you name it.
Yeah, we mentioned some of that stuff. It was amazing, but also the salt war. The first one was up in White Sands.
Yeah,
and that's
Las
what
Cruces,
Vince
White Sands.
is talking about there. So amazing history here. We've got the crowd from Magoffin home. Jeff Harris, site superintendent. Did I say that correctly? Is that your real title?
Site manager, but close enough.
Okay.
Boss.
But in the state of Texas, you got to get it right.
I know.
And Michelle Wranglewood, you wash the bottles.
Yeah.
Chief bottle washer.
Well, you guys have both probably learned a tremendous amount about that place since you started working there, have you not?
Yeah, I mean, it's a constant thing of researching and finding out new things. We just when we think we know it all, we find something else out and have to readjust our view of the Magoffins.
Okay.
When I was hired to manage the place, I'd never been in an adobe building before. So I learned a lot, and it's amazing. Being in an adobe building changes your whole idea of how a building actually works.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that, because in the summer, the cool air of the overnight finally comes through in the morning, and then the hot air later on heats the brick. Talk about how that works.
Well, in the adobe buildings, our walls are about 2.5, 3 feet thick. It kind of depends where you are in the home. So it works a little bit like a man-made cave. So in the summer, in the Magoffin's time, it would keep it a little cooler. But now we have heating and air conditioning, and you can't run the ductwork through the adobe because if you cut out a big trench in the mud wall, the wall falls down. So our ductwork actually runs underneath the sidewalks that surround the home.
It's amazing how the house has been taken care of by things like that. And it's been stuccoed a couple of times that I'm aware of in the last 20 years. And that's always a big job. That means that stuff goes everywhere. You take I've seen it. We had video of it. You take it down to the original adobe and start over. and it's an amazing process. But how many bedrooms would you say that place has? If you had to, when they had it all to themselves and without a state park people in there or state historic site, how many bedrooms was that place?
Well, the home itself is about 6,000 square feet. It's 19 rooms. So how many bedrooms they had depended on who lived there.
Okay.
Because the family lived there for 109 years, a lot of the rooms had different functions depending on who was there. We know one of the rooms had 13 different functions over the 109 years.
Oh, my. And also, I think when the last tenant was there, she lived in the front, what is now probably was an office for a while, but she lived up in the front there.
Yeah, it was the northwest part of the house.
Tia, I'm trying to think what she would be called. Yeah, Aunt
Tia.
What was her full name? Was she a Glasgow? No, the last
Octavia Magoffin Glasgow.
That's
Thank
the one.
you.
Yeah, she was, and she was the daughter of Josephine, right?
Yes.
And the granddaughter of Joseph. Okay, interesting house there. People should definitely come take a look at it. What would you recommend for people? I mean, you said 5 into a group right now because of the COVID nonsense, which is not nonsense, it's real. But the 5 in a group and come in one car, one family, and you'll accept that. And I guess you guys have to police that a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, we want to make sure that we keep people safe.
Right.
So we're doing everything the CDC says we should do, everything the state says we should do, and then we're doing a lot of things that are unique because of our situation in an adobe building and things. We're venting the building while people are in it, extra things like that.
Okay, but when they come to visit, they come to the visitor center across the street first, right?
Well, actually, right now we have the visitor center closed.
Oh.
So if you just give us a call, we'll answer the phone, and we'll meet you by the gate at the Magoffin home.
That visitor center is no slouch either. That's a great old house all by itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was built in 1901 by Dr. Justice and his wife Estella.
So there's a lot of history to take a look at in El Paso. Go to El Paso's only history museum, which is a house, and it's also the one of 2 Texas state historic sites in the county. The other one we talked about, hour 1, Waco Tanks. Interesting history. And I think it ranks up there because of its territorial architecture. Isn't that one reason that people should come see the house?
Yes, only one though. There's so many reasons. I'm just if you are curious, if you've heard something in history that has made you curious about El Paso's place in that history, this is a great place to come because the Magoffins really did experience or took part in so many of historical events here in El Paso over their time here. A
major part of El Paso history. Andrew, we're about out of time here, are we not? Here, thank you, Andrew Polk in there for engineering us, for getting us on Facebook several places. And Melissa and I thank you kindly for all the smiling we have to do and now on the radio. It's amazing.
No, I like to smile.
Jeff and Michelle, thank you for joining us here. We'll see you at the Magoffin home.
Thank you.
Take care and have happy holidays.
Thanks a lot. Everybody else,
happy holidays.
Same to you. Next week, we're coming back talking about the International Boundary Water Commission with Mark Howe and Gabe Duran. That's going to be an interesting crowd. See you next week. Again, Andrew, thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye-bye.
You are listening to a break in our Facebook streaming of the El Paso History Radio Show.